The road ended where the shadows began. The Blackwood Hotel stood like a jagged tombstone against the midnight sky, forgotten by time itself. Mist clung to the ground like a cold breath, swirling around the rusted gates as if trying to keep the living away. A neon open sign buzzed with a dying rhythm, its cracked glass weeping rain like tears for a history long since buried. I shouldn't have come here. But the curiosity was a weight in my chest, pulling me toward the darkness of the entrance. The door groaned on its hinges, a sound like a scream trapped in old wood, welcoming me into the belly of the beast. Inside, the air was thick with the scent of wet rot and ancient dust. The silence was so heavy it felt loud. Then, a sound, clear and sharp. A silver bell on the reception desk rang once, though no hand touched it. The guest book lay open, its pages yellowed and curled. The ink on the last entry looked fresh, yet the date was decades old. I felt watched. The portraits on the walls seemed to track my movement, their painted eyes gleaming in the half-light. The wind howled outside, shaking the building to its foundations. Suddenly, the overhead lights flickered and died, plunging me into total gloom. I turned my flashlight on. The beam cut through the dark, revealing a narrow hallway with peeling floral wallpaper. My shadow stretched out before me, long and distorted. It seemed to move independently, dancing to a rhythm I couldn't hear. At the very end of the corridor, a figure flickered, silhouette darker than the night, gone before I could blink. I stopped at room 37. The brass numbers were scratched, as if someone had tried to claw them off the door. A faint whispering drifted from the other side, 1,000 voices speaking at once, yet saying nothing at all. The lock clicked. The door drifted open, revealing a room bathed in the ghostly blue glow of the moon. On a small side table sat an antique radio. Its vacuum tubes began to glow a sickly orange, humming with sudden life. Static erupt, a violent scratching noise that seemed to vibrate in my very teeth. Then the dial began to turn. A voice broke through the white noise. It was small, distant, and filled with a desperation that chilled my blood. "Help me," it repeated, a plea from the past, echoing into my present. I reached out, my hand trembling. I scanned the room, searching for the source. There was no one here, just the wind and the ghosts of forgotten guests. As I moved, the mirror on the wardrobe caught my eye. In the glass, a shadow stood directly behind me. I spun around, my heart hammering against my ribs. Nothing. The corner was empty. The room was silent once more. But the radio didn't care for the silence. It began to scream, the volume rising until the very floorboards shook. The voice changed. It wasn't a plea anymore. It was a command. It began to recite numbers, coordinates, to somewhere far away. Suddenly, the door behind me slammed shut with a thunderous crack. Trapped in the dark with the coordinates of a dead man, the walls began to groan. Cracks spread like lightning across the plaster, and from within the gaps, the whispering returned. I lunged for the door, pulling at the handle with all my strength. It wouldn't budge. It felt like part of the wall itself. A loud, piercing screech erupted from the radio, and my flashlight died. Darkness swallowed me whole. In the blackness, a silhouette formed in the corner, not a shadow, but a void. It pointed a long, thin finger at the radio. "Find me," the figure whispered. The voice didn't come from the room. It came from inside my own head. The radio cut to silence. The glow vanished. For a moment, there was nothing but the sound of my own panicked breathing. Light flooded back into the hallway outside. The door to room 37 stood wide open, as if it had never been closed. I looked back at the table. The radio was gone. Only a circle of clean wood remained in the thick layer of dust. I ran. I didn't care about the coordinates or the secrets. I just needed to feel the cold night air on my face. I reached the lobby, gasping for breath. The silence of the hotel now felt like a predatory thing, waiting for me to stop. My eyes fell on the guest book one last time. I shouldn't have looked. I should have just kept running. There, at the very bottom, was my own name, written in my own handwriting. But the date? The date was 40 years ago. I looked at my hands. They were the same. But the hotel knew me. It had been waiting for me to return. Behind me, the door of room 37 closed with a soft, final click. The past and the present had finally merged,